Welcome back to States and Kingdoms. Today we're talking about
Smiley Smile
by the Beach Boys.
by the Beach Boys.
Smiley Smile, to us, is just a fantastic, masterpiece, brilliant Beach Boys album.
Yeah, in its own right, not connected
Which is
to
how
the Smile Project.
How I think of it.
That's how we first listened to it. When we first listened to it, we didn't know the whole history.
So we're not going to talk about
lore.
Smile at all. I'm not.
Okay.
And
So let's talk about it.
I'm not talking about it. I'm going to think about it. So in 1966,
Brian Wilson was in a sandbox.
but a lot of people, they like to connect this to Smile, and of course, I mean, for very good reason.
Right.
But it does the album a disservice.
Right, because it's often referred to, or at least the impression that I've always gotten, is that it was this hastily compiled bits of leftover songs and things that they threw together in the wake of the project collapsing, and the record company made them just make something.
Right. Almost like they did it without their approval.
Right, like they just went in
like
in the middle of the night, grabbed the tapes.
Yeah, that's the impression, and it's really not true. And if you read a little bit more deeply into it, it's not true.
It's not true because they actually re-recorded most of the songs specifically for Smiley Smile.
Yep, in Brian's home studio. When we started listening to Beach Boys, you started listening to Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, as you said, because of Mom, because of the musicians you were listening to that pointed to the Beach Boys. You got Pet Sounds, and then I don't know what you got. But this was definitely early.
Yeah.
Because I remember this early. And, even though I know, like, people are so used to the internet was around, but I never looked anything up on the internet.
It wasn't like that then.
I knew nothing of Smile.
No.
I knew nothing about that, really, at that time. And I just accepted this album. And I thought it was just awesome.
And that's how we're going to talk about it right now.
Let's start doing that.
Heroes and Villains.
Heroes and Villains. It's really good.
Great song. Number 2.
It just continues what Brian was doing with Good
Vibrations.
Vibrations.
It's classic Brian. It has movements. It changes and shifts and
it's also it's full of American pop culture and American music, whether it's even whether it's like something like Gershwin or even I was thinking about operettas, but all the popular music of the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s that Brian knew. I mean, it's all in him. Mm-hmm. And these things. I mean, everyone wants to go to more avant-garde music, and that's fine because that fits too. But the playfulness of it and the storytelling, is just it's such a part of him, and it comes out a little bit weirder.
Yeah.
But well, not weirder. It comes out like a child.
I was gonna say childlike. There's always that innocence and childlike wonder
on this song.
Yeah.
And I mean on many songs.
On many
songs.
On
this particular song.
Yeah, on this song especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's such an awesome song. And just so masterful musically. You really rock and roll does not get better than this, in my opinion. The Beach Boys are actually really my favorite band. And even though if you listen to our videos, I feel like every band I talk about sounds like my favorite band. It's just an impression.
Vegetables.
Yeah. They say Paul is chomping. I've heard that for years and
years.
I know,
he's chomping on some celery in the background.
I feel like Paul was actually there all the time and was wearing the mustache like from the beginning of Hard Day's Night.
He was taking notes.
He's just like, just sitting in the back.
I'll have that, and I'll have that.
Maybe like the Monty Python sketch with Mr. Hilter. Anyway, what can you say? It's got the
it's so catchy.
The sense of humor though, and just for the lightness of it is something the Beach Boys did from the very beginning. We have talked about that before. the sense of humor, and you could call it cornball if you want, and it is, and in the best way.
But it's so Beach Boysian.
It's not really there on Pet Sounds. It's there again here, and really often.
But yeah, like we mentioned, like
on every other album.
Surfing Safari, there's a song about mugs.
Yeah.
And there's a song about cuckoo clocks. It's like these very simple.
It's kind of like, if you don't like that, you can still enjoy the Beach Boys, and maybe you'd consider that something like a flaw. I don't think it is. It's kind of like if you love John Ford movies, but there's going to be a fight at some point. And if you just really don't like that, still a great movie though. I think you can get around it.
But yeah, the Beach Boys always have that element of playfulness, Americana, the amusement park thing, and the cars going to the beach, like every single part of them, and throughout, it's all that. Plus, it's also like completely personal.
Yeah,
because Brian is just that honest, and he just writes what is going on in his life. So like, he was going to a health food store a lot, and he owned it. Right? He owned one. So he was like thinking about vegetables and wrote songs about vegetables. Like that's him, and it's completely genuine, and it's just Brian.
And yeah,
fall breaks and back to winter.
Fall breaks and back to winter.
Which is another kind of, I hate to say it, but
well, it's a reconfigured
Smile
track from Smile.
It's a really nice instrumental.
Yeah, it's a great. Well, Beach Boys always did great instrumentals. Of course
they did.
So yeah.
Duh.
It is.
But it's got the sound effects and the harmonies and the interesting kind of sounds.
The Woody Woodpecker sound.
Well, isn't that the...
Yeah. Well, it does sound like Woody Woodpecker.
Sorry, girls.
I grew up watching Woody Woodpecker.
Good. Sure.
Haven't seen it since.
All right. What are you, like, a million years old? She's going bald.
Again, though,
super catchy.
The humor.
This is a very catchy song. Like we were saying, like, the Kinks did bald people songs, too, so...
Yeah, well, this is great. And the Hawaii stuff, it still... in the early 60s, everything with, Hawaiian themed, and Blue Hawaii is one of my favorite Elvis movies. And
it was Newly Estate.
Yes. And, but it's still, the whole idea of, from Smile going, Also
and of course, the Whitest Kids.
Yeah, I know. Whatever.
Good Vibrations, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. What can you say about Good Vibrations? It's just a song,
it's
genius, masterpiece song.
Yeah, well...
I always think, in my mind, I don't know why, but California Girls being that perfect pop song. Beautiful, just like crafted amazingness. And then in my head, that it goes into Good Vibrations as like the next step.
I feel like Good Vibrations, he really, and this is October of '66 that this was released as a single, something like that. That his blending of like so many things, and particularly of that like choral music that he was just trying to infuse rock and roll with like sacred music. Yeah, and just elevating it. Good Vibrations. It's
a radio transmitter to talking to God.
Thank you. It's definitely there. He achieved it. He absolutely achieved what he was trying to achieve, even if he didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, and it works on this album perfectly well. Like, if you have a really incredible song and it's a huge hit, you put it on the album, Smiths.
You stick it right in the middle. Right in there.
You switch the samples.
You're saying that.
Inverted. All right, anyway.
With Me Tonight is a really sweet, pretty song.
Mm-hmm. And this is Carl? It's Carl.
Yeah, it's Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, Carl, by this time, Carl's singing so many songs, and it was really working out well for them, because he had such a beautiful voice.
It really does. It has, like, a real softness to it that's just really nice to listen to.
Yeah, and it's still difficult to sometimes tell who's singing, because
It
they
is.
can almost all sound
sing,
like each
yeah,
other,
they can all do each other's voices.
including Al Jardine's, which is interesting because they really, and Brian can sound like all of them.
Yeah.
He,
Well, Brian's voice is just insane.
you know. Anyway, yeah, it's a great song.
Wind chimes.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's just as a vocal group, their harmonies are scary.
Yeah, they're so good. They're scary.
Well, there isn't anyone better. There isn't.
No.
For freshmen. Andrew Sisters.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was waiting for it. And then Nick is on the block.
It's true.
Getting hungry. I always like the song a lot.
Yeah.
I like Brian's animal magnetism side. Well, I love how it just, it's so quiet and like kind of spare, and then all of a sudden, he like that like kind of like yowl out of the vocal,
Where
and then
he's yowling for his mate.
I know.
Primitive man yowling for his mate.
I like it. Wonderful. Another
Carl.
yeah, pretty song.
Whistle in.
Whistling is such a really nice way to wrap up the album, I think.
Yeah.
The album is really structured.
I wish we had such a good way to wrap up this video.
This album is structured very well, I think. The song sequence.
Well, I think so too. That's why I think this is a phenomenal album. And if you don't think about, what could have been or, what wasn't, this is still such a great album. And, it's not... you can appreciate it on its own terms. It's not Smile. Like, it wasn't intended to be Smile. It's something else. And, what it is still exceptionally enjoyable and deep.
Yeah, well, it's not just Smile, it's Smiley Smile.
I know, it's even better. Extra Smile.
Extra Smile. Are you being glib?
No.
Don't be glib. On that note, thank you so much for watching our discussion about Smiley Smile. Hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment below and let us know what you think. And stay tuned for our next video coming up soon. So stick around, and thanks so much for watching.